like one of the first things that I would advise people to do is to educate themselves on how many different scams there are. There's extremely, extremely intelligent people who are, just technological wizards.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Moving the Mountain, a creative leadership podcast. Today we have Maggie May Ferri to talk with us about NFTs and art. You have a background in art, correct?
I do.
Yes. Went to school for art. What is the actual title of the degree?
So it's a Bachelor of Arts in Fine Art and Art History.
Nice. And all right, we'll get right into it. This week we are going with the Spindrift grapefruit. And Maggie actually knows somebody who gets these for free. You have a hookup?
He works for Spindrift. I don't know what his official position is, but cheers.
That's very good.
Very refreshing.
So you showed up a little bit early today, maybe a couple hours at least, 2-3 hours. So we pretty much already talked about everything. We covered NFTs to a great extent. And the goal of today is hopefully to buy an NFT on this episode. Or are you going to show me how to buy an NFT on this episode?
Yeah, I think we should try.
We're going to give it a shot. I don't have any money in the wallet, so we'll see how that actually goes. And we're kind of torn between two NFTs at this point. One is World of Women, which Maggie is one of the collaborators. Would you call yourself on that project?
I'm a holder.
You're a holder, okay. And then the other project is, what was that one called?
The Art of Seasons. Was that the one you're?
Yeah. Very cool. So where should we start with NFTs? Because I feel like it's pretty new. And you kind of hear about it a little bit on social media. And I remember talking to you probably 6 months ago, and I had sent you some videos. I thought I sent you some videos. Is this not true?
You probably
did. Am I making this up? This is my recollection of it, right? I sent her these videos, and it was Gary Vee talking about basically how people complain like, oh, I would get into NFTs, but I don't have the time. And, he's not really an excuse kind of guy. So he's like, I'm busier than most people. I took 2 weeks. I spent a ton of time researching them. And, he launched into the NFT space. And I feel like that was the video I remember sending you because I was encouraged by that. I was like, yeah, he's right. I can't make any excuses. I need to take the time to research this and get to know it and all that stuff. Send you that video. I didn't do it, but you did it. And I remember you telling me you took a good amount of time to research what an NFT is. You've educated yourself fairly well on NFTs. And how many NFTs do you now own?
Roughly 30.
30 NFTs. And how old are you? No.
One for every year.
Give or take a few. We'll see. Well, that's awesome. So why don't you walk us through that couple weeks that you spent getting to know the space and any tips you might have? Where do you start? I feel like that's with everybody. It seems a non-fungible token. It's just what does it mean? What do you do? You're paying all this money for a JPEG. What's the real value of it? Some people say, people are just laundering money through it. So what's your take on it?
So I think that the most important thing when you first start out is to just move really slow and to spend that time upfront researching. I would say probably at least 30 days of just sitting back and trying to read and absorb as much information as you can. Twitter is really great, and just go through a feed and stuff will come, the algorithm just provides information that you're looking for. If you're looking for information about NFTs, it'll show up. And So Twitter is a great resource.
And you obviously think there's like real value to these NFTs, like beyond them just being like for art collectors.
I do. I think that the way that people perceive them now and the way that they're being used is going to be vastly different from what it'll be in the future, where people don't necessarily have a handle on it, and even collections that are like well known to people in the space will have different utility in the future. So like anything from
I feel
a
like
ticket
yeah.
to an event that'll be, or any type of contract or purchase can be executed through an NFT.
And what's the point of what's the point of going through an NFT versus like I'm going to see Bob Dylan live, I'm just going to buy a ticket to go see him versus like, would you buy an NFT and then that's the ticket? Like, how does that work? Or how would that work?
Yeah, so I envision it being a similar thing, a digital ticket where you attend the event and you have to provide proof that you own this token, which in the future will be a lot easier than it is now, where it's like, I don't even know what the tokenized like system is to get into events where they have to verify that you own something, how that is done. I haven't done that yet, but it'll be something that will be a collectible. So anything that's an NFT forever lives on the blockchain. So it'll provide a record, a ledger. That's essentially what they are. Just like a digital ledger that you could trace back through the beginning of the blockchain and prove that it exists and who owns it and who's owned it throughout.
So how it went from owner to owner. And you said there would be perks attached to, say you bought that concert ticket. Does that, maybe they have different types, right? Where you'd have different perks attached to each one, depending on the value that you spent on it?
Yeah, I think it just depends on who writes the contract and what they want to happen, like in the future. Like they could say, for right now, this ticket gives you access to this show. But in the future, it could provide different utility if they have that open to later changes. Does that make sense?
It's very confusing.
It's really hard, I think, upfront, which is why most people don't take the time to learn about it and to wrap your head around.
It seems like one of those things where it's just like, it makes no sense to most people. And then one day everybody's going to have like that aha moment. But I almost feel like it's how we explain computers and the internet to our parents or social media, that's how probably maybe like our kids will be explaining NFTs to us. You'll have the upper hand, obviously. Who's this character on your shirt?
So this is Eva Longoria's.
I'm not sure if they can, they can see it a little bit. Eva Longoria, who is that?
She's a pretty famous actress.
What has she started? What would I know her in?
Probably the most well known as Desperate Housewives, I think.
Is that a TV series?
She was in the movie with Steve Carell, and Ryan Gosling, and
40-Year-Old Virgin?
No. Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh, okay.
Is it Crazy Stupid Love? I think so. Yes, she was in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's a WoW holder.
And WoW, for those that you guys don't know, is World of Women.
So you can, if we could like pull up an image somehow and just show what they look like.
Yeah, we could do that.
So when you purchase a WoW World of Women NFT, you own the IP to this image, which is just one of the perks associated with ownership. So you can develop it, you can market it, you can create a brand around it. So she used it and sold merch, which I think these were completely charitable, the sales.
Interesting. So she bought that, put it on a t-shirt, or you can merchandise it in any way. and then people can buy it. Now, if you did that, say you found this image on the internet, is there possible like copyright infringement issues that you'd run into? I noticed at the Bored Ape clubs too, they're doing a similar thing. Like I've seen someone open like a restaurant or a burger joint, like strictly around like their Bored Ape.
Yep.
And you had mentioned earlier that Gary Vee is taking his like V Friends, and the future concept of that is almost like a Disney World type character thing.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the development of that is he sees that being a long-term project that he can take those characters and develop them to, you know, the sky's the limit. Like he could create the next Mickey Mouse with his characters. Anything from merch to cartoons, books. I mean, any. If you can imagine a character in a certain setting, that's what you could do.
So we could technically buy a character from World of Women, right? And use her as our company logo, right? Now, would that be a write-off?
I believe it would. Yeah.
That'd be a good way to segue into buying
not
it.
financial advice, but like, I think that that's a really good question. And the tax code, it's still very blurry as far as cryptocurrency goes and NFTs and sort of loopholes and ways to get around that. So I think it's ever changing and they're just trying to figure out what the best.
Yeah. Okay. So it's still up for grabs.
I mean,
because that would be interesting to buy that as a business, as IP that you're going to use for marketing material. Like, hey, this is my new logo, or this is our mascot, and you know all that. And yeah, I mean that would be a significant write-off for a business.
Yep, I'm pretty sure that it would qualify because it would be just like anything else that you would be using for, as long as you had the business established, obviously, and you know, formally incorporated or made an LLC or something around it.
Yeah, and then obviously if you sold it, well, the nice thing about that is like it holds its value and hopefully goes up in value. You were saying that. What did they launch for? How many ETH? The World of Women?
I believe that, so it's called Mint when a project first launches and goes up for sale. On that project specific website, you can mint an NFT or multiple NFTs depending on what they allow for. But I believe World of Women, which I didn't mint, was about 0.08 for the original 0.08 Ethereum.
Yeah. Which is about what, $2,500 right now?
Right now, yeah. Yeah.
Give or take.
No. Well, one ETH is about $3K, let's say, right now.
Yep. So just under.
Yeah. So.
And what have they like kind of gone up to? We were just looking at one, and it was what was it, 7 ETH? That was kind of on the lower side.
Yeah. So if you look at collections, there are different platforms that you can view NFTs for sale. The most commonly used one is called OpenSea, and on that,
is that who you purchased there?
Yes, I've actually only used OpenSea. There have been other competitors. There's a lot of different people that are trying to establish themselves and compete in that space, but and OpenSea has had a ton of issues. It's known for its issues, but it's still the most widely used platform to purchase. And so if you buy it on something like that, it's called buying it on secondary. So right now the floor price, which is the lowest price that something is for sale for, is roughly like 7 ETH, 7 Ethereum. Now
these different websites that they mint on, right? So they build out these websites that they're minted on, that are built on the blockchain. Like, does the website have to be built on the blockchain for that to?
The website itself is not, but it would be a question for a developer. So very, very skilled developers, I would say, who write the contracts and also write.
So with these different websites that they mint on, like we were just kind of going through the different wallets. Like I have a Coinbase wallet. You typically use MetaMask, you were saying. Are these like, you know, would both those work on a minting website, or are they like, sometimes you have to get a different kind of wallet? Like they only have a specific wallet that you can use, or maybe a couple options, but maybe not the one that you have. Is that common?
Yeah, I would say that MetaMask is the most widely accepted.
Is the Coinbase
probably
wallet? Yeah,
is
I imagine
typically,
that's up there. Yeah.
but it's still fairly new. But yeah, MetaMask is definitely the most used, I would say.
Yeah, the first time I used a wallet, and even that's kind of a little bit of an interesting concept there. But with the code, like they're very kind of confusing. I had to buy it because I was trying to buy SafeMoon. This is probably like a year ago, and what a scam that was.
What's SafeMoon at right now?
Jesus. Yeah, my friend Brandon had advised me. My financial advisor, Brandon. Where was I going with that?
I think
R.I.P. SafeMoon.
bottom line. I think
Can we take a break? Can I have a moment?
edit.
Yeah, we'll edit that out. SafeMoon.
I think the
wallets, yeah.
the security around wallets and first creating them is like super, super critical. Like one of the first things that I would advise people to do is to educate themselves on how many different scams there are. There's extremely, extremely intelligent people who are, just technological wizards that
I see the articles, like, even the Bored Apes, like, got hacked. Like, that was crazy. Because I saw other projects getting hacked, and I was like,
Yeah. I mean, it happens every day, and it happens to people who would consider themselves very knowledgeable and like know the safety protocols and what not to do. And what usually ends up happening is that people get caught up in this idea that something is provided to them and it's like this crazy, like too good to be true. Like I have to act fast. Acting fast is like one
that's
of the...
always a red flag when you feel like you have to act fast on something.
And it's actually one of the things that's the most common with NFTs, and it's called FOMO. I don't know if that term like applies across different things, not
I
just
think
NFTs,
the audience
but
is familiar with that too.
yeah. So FOMO is fear of missing out, for those who don't know. But it's a huge thing that actually impacts a lot of people's mental health with NFTs because...
And stocks, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anytime anybody has finances tied up in the fear of losing money or gaining money, either way. But a lot of people have experienced life-changing gains with NFTs.
Right.
So the possibility of that happening is fairly reasonable. It's just part of it is luck and how you, what projects just survive and what projects can skyrocket, so you can have really good luck. But there's also this sense of urgency that's like it's always sort of lingering.
Right.
And yeah, it causes people to act irrationally, and also you can get really consumed with
Well,
things.
I think there's like a mental health thing there too with FOMO. In NFTs, and I would say stocks, where you hear about these people like, spending X amount and then they become like millionaires overnight. And you're like, man, I'm working so hard at this job that I don't like. And then like, these people are getting rich, like flipping JPEGs. And it's like, and it kind of goes back to Gary Vee's point where it's like, if I just had the time to learn about NFTs, then I could do that too, but I don't have the time. But to his point, you do have the time. It's like making the time.
Yeah, I think that anybody could really do it. And anybody, I don't want to say anybody could be financially successful, but if you put the time in to learn, the chances of you being able to make profitable gains from NFTs is pretty great right now, I would say. If you act cautiously, you invest in things that you believe in. And I think it's similar to stocks, or I would say most similar to stocks, where you can have different strategies where, you might have something that you plan on holding for the long term or something that you want to flip, and you have a goal in mind for what to sell for, and that's it. So different ways of like diversifying your own NFT portfolio.
So you really believe in that? Like, even we were looking at one of the World of Women NFTs, and I think it was $22,000. You'd recommend buying something like that it would only increase in value?
So it's tough to say. Like, I personally believe in that project, and I've been involved with the community. I've seen what they've done. The founders, there's a ton of potential there that's, I believe, is going to be realized as time goes on. But
I feel like the women's movement, like, people kind of like latch onto that. It's like a good time for that. Mm-hmm. But that's a good segue. Why don't you tell us about World of Women, your involvement in it, how you got involved with it? I have a very kind of like a vague understanding mm-hmm. of it. And mine was, and this is a story I've been telling, and correct me if this is mm-hmm. putting out misinformation out there.
How could you ever do such a thing?
Me spreading misinformation? Can we talk about the fact? No. World of Women, yeah. So this is the story that I've been telling, is that you got involved with this NFT project. I'm not sure how or why, but you did. Mm-hmm. And then you designed this Pink Tuxedo, mm-hmm. which is like, not even sure how that works, but it's like an asset that can be applied to a character. Mm-hmm. And then it went viral, and it went outside of World of Women it kind of carried over into other projects. I saw even like a Bored Ape with one of the Pink Tuxedos. Mm-hmm. So you actually created the Pink Tuxedo, is that correct?
Yeah, so let me just kind of start at the beginning. So I researched the project. My initial gut feeling when I first got into NFTs, which was September of last year, and I just didn't buy anything for 3 months. I didn't buy anything until November. And I felt like, so a lot of time you spend in Discord, and you can see how the community interacts and the people who are there. So that's the biggest place that people go besides Twitter for NFTs. So I spent some time in their Discord, and I liked just the vibe of people and what they were saying and what the project stood for. But I also believe it was filling a gap in the market that didn't exist, and it's the first women-led project, which the artist, her name's E.M. Karkai, she basically created that because she saw the need for this. It's a PFP, so a profile picture, and didn't see that for women at that time. And I think it minted in August.
Is she not only the creator, but is she the designer as well?
So she is the illustrator and artist behind the project. So, and I'm sure she, her input, she's co-founder with her husband.
Quick side story. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should hold it for later, but you were on some kind of conference, right? And they were doing it almost looked like an award show of some kind.
Yeah, so that's another whole event. But so they were on, Yem was on Billboard Women in Music Awards and made an announcement and a beautiful speech.
And you were live streaming the event. Just so happened to be, which you assume that someone else would have been recording it. Yeah. I don't know why it wasn't, but it wasn't. So you had the only running recording of it, and
or the one that got circulated anyway.
I don't know if I was sending you memes on Instagram, and it just kept popping up, and then they had to post that on their Instagram with my name repeatedly popping up in the notifications. But back to what you were saying.
So I thought that the project has a future because of where it originated and what the purpose was, and that I didn't see any other projects doing what they were doing for women in the space as successfully as they were, and being the first. So I made the decision to purchase a WoW, which at the time was like a very substantial decision for me, but I just believed that it was going to go places in the long term, like not so concerned about intermediate floor price going up and down, and since then it's done very well. But so the Pink Tuxedo was created in Discord. We were chatting about this like rumor that World of Women was going to be auctioned at Christie's auction house. If anybody's familiar with that name, but they have crazy names that they auction for physical pieces. Picasso, Kandinsky, Braque, like literally the most famous artists in history, they auction their pieces. So there was this sort of rumor that was going around that World of Women was going to have an NFT auctioned at Christie's. But it wasn't even, it was purely speculative. Like, we didn't know for sure. So I was like, oh, you know, getting a little excited and trying to get everybody else like, oh, I'm going to put a pink tuxedo on my wow. Just in the original collection, there's already a black and white tuxedo, and it's like one of the very rare traits. So I thought, oh, I can, you know, like hop on this trait.
What is the significance of the pink tux? Like, what is that?
It was just different. It was just like a, I don't know, like a dressier version of an outfit to celebrate. So
okay.
I was just going to switch up my PFP with a pink tux. And then
you can interchange assets on your...
So not on the actual NFT itself, unless you purchase. It wouldn't be on the original NFT itself. Like, you can physically change it just like you could change any other image and just put it on, you know.
And how did that catch on?
So I like put it on Discord with my wow and the pink tux, and then somebody was like, "Oh, that's great. Can you send me the PNG and I'll put it on mine?" And I was like, "Sure." And then next thing you know, somebody was like, "Oh, can you put it on mine?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And then for the next like 3 days or something, I was just on my iPad like putting pink tuxes on everybody's wows. There's another member of the community. His name's Ben Blenner, but he goes by Chrono. And he was doing the same thing. Like, we were like tag teaming and just like helping everybody out in the community and putting them on. And then somewhere along the line, well, they the next day, actually, I think they formally announced that they were going to Christie's. So it was like this big moment, like, oh, it's actually happening. And then before you knew it, it was just like all over Twitter, other people had pink tuxedos on their own PFPs, so it was really cool.
Yeah. So you just kind of put the asset out there and then get picked up.
And then I minted the original just so I could have like a commemorative like version of it on the blockchain. So
I did. I saw that on your... Now, could someone buy that from you?
Yeah, I guess so, if I had it listed for sale. Or
It's not listed?
No.
Yeah.
But, you know, in history, like, it'd just be like a cool thing. Like, who knows where that'll end up in the history of the project or...
Another cool thing that like recently happened with you is Gary V ended up buying one of your NFTs.
So he didn't buy it. So World of Women asked me to collaborate.
Where do I get my information?
Yeah, I don't want to know. So they asked me, they do a monthly art drop, and they work with, I believe, 7 different artists for each of the worlds. So the characters in WoW have different skin tones, and for each world, each skin tone, there's a different world. So they reached out to me and asked me if I could do the art for Golden Star, which is the golden skin tone. So when you do that, it gets airdropped to all of the holders of that skin tone. So Gary V is a holder of a golden WoW, so he wound up with my artwork airdropped into his wallet, which is really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, your name's not specifically on that, right? It's more the address of your wallet?
On that specific one in the description, my name is on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how do people know, like, who Gary V is in the blockchain world? like without knowing his wallet number? Because that's what you see, right?
So you can have it connected to an ENS address, ENS, which is a .eth address, and that sort of acts as a substitute to the long multi-digit code that goes along with your Ethereum address. But certain people who are well-known, like Gary's probably, I'd say, top 3 most influential people in NFTs. So it's kind of common knowledge what his wallet is, but his face and his name is actually connected to his account, so you could find them pretty easily.
Who would you say is like more influential than him in the NFT space? Or who would you say are the top 3 people?
There are different people who are like large holders, and some people are public, and some people have aliases and you don't know who they actually are. Some people don't even have like name aliases. They just go by like a string of digits. But one person comes to mind. They go by Cosimo de' Medici. So the Medicis in art history are like an extremely influential art collecting family in Italy. I don't remember if it was during the Renaissance or not, but you could easily just look up what the Medici family is all about. So they've sort of taken on this name to represent the digital renaissance. Like NFTs, in my mind, that's literally what they are. They're just like, it's a digital art renaissance that's happening right now. But he goes by Cosimo, or they go by Cosimo de' Medici, and you don't really know who it is. There's like some speculation that it's Snoop Dogg, but actually it doesn't make any sense to me based on the way that they communicate. So they're very like, I'd say influential force in their opinions of art and what direction to go and what projects have certain value and artists that are important and upcoming.
Yeah, so it goes beyond just like things that are trending, where there are like some great artists just creating in a digital space and being recognized there. Yeah. Not to say that like a Bored Ape, is less valuable. It's like because you're really comparing 2 very different things,
Yeah, I think there are projects that have these collections of like 10,000 NFTs that they launched, like Bored Ape Yacht Club, for example. And then there are artists who either launch small collections or do one-of-one artwork, which is a singular piece that's completely distinct in itself. Doesn't combine different traits from other things.
How much of the space do you feel like is just people hopping on the bandwagon where they're like, oh, this is a way for me to make like quick money, as far as creators go, where they don't like care about art or collecting. They're just like, hey, this is the next wave and it's a good opportunity.
There have definitely been situations where projects have launched and they call them rugs, where they come out, they might have like really great marketing and all this hype around this project, don't necessarily know who the actual team is. They haven't revealed their identity at all, which is a red flag now. And they can, make millions of dollars off their collection selling out and then just disappear. So that's definitely happened. And I think people are getting more, they're learning to investigate the teams behind projects a lot more. And I think that that's a really important thing that people should do, is as much as they believe in the artwork, the team and the founders and what they're all about and their careers and their backgrounds are like probably the number one thing that I would research when investing in a project.
So do you have like like a ballpark figure of like how many, because I get all the time like people in DMs on Instagram like multiple times a day, you know, sometimes 5-10 like go into those they get pushed into like a different inbox, but it's just all investing in this
those are all
project
scams.
and it's a ton of them.
Yep, me too.
I have a friend who's tied up in an NFT project right now, and you know, talking to the artists, and like they had to find an artist to make them all, and you know, they've been working I think for like 6 months, and the artist wanted a certain amount up front and then a certain percentage of the project, and I guess he's like hitting some issues, but it seems very costly, at least the route that he's been going, to actually make a project and launch it.
Yeah, I think that it's a lot more work than people might think at first glance. Like, it sounds like this magical world of I'm going to become a millionaire overnight and can just easily like push out these images. And it is pretty easy to launch a collection. I think on OpenSea you can do it if you just have like different traits drawn, like illustrated, and you can put them in to OpenSea, upload them, and it generates the number of images you want based off of those traits. So
that's within the software of OpenSea. It does that, really?
Yep. So it's I mean, and you can mint anything yourself on OpenSea for nothing.
So you would create the basic character and then some assets,
Different layers that would go on like this single template.
And then it just computerizes, generates.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
And then you'd say, I want 12,000 different variations.
Yep.
Is that something you're planning on doing?
I'm not at this time. No, I have like a few different ideas for multiple edition items where it's the same thing, but you sell 250 versions of the same thing. So yeah, I have a couple of ideas related to that. But.
So how could like a company like ours, you know, someone is like, we're in the wedding space, is there a way that we could get involved with NFTs? You know, I was trying to kick it around, but I just really kind of couldn't come up with anything where it's like, you can't sell the wedding photography, right? Like no one wants to buy an NFT of someone else's wedding.
I'm sure there are like numerous applications of ways that it could work with your business and other businesses that don't seem like it's like readily apparent, but they're essentially a contract. So if you had a contract with, you know, your clients, that NFT, that could become an NFT, and it's the agreement between the two of you. They purchase it, and that gives them whatever you want to determine. But just say that contract was a single thing as an NFT. What you have right now, your contract. And you have an artist who was like up and coming, or somebody that you like, and you have their artwork associated with the contract in the NFT. So they purchased this NFT that has the image from the artist as one single digital asset, and that artist later makes a name for themselves, then their contract could have value because they own that artist's artwork. Does that make sense?
So they would own a piece of it?
So they would own that specific artwork associated with their contract. Like you would, if you endorse an artist to work with you and collaborate and say, hey, I have, 200 contracts. Can you create a piece of work that's either original or not, edition of 50? And that goes along with their standard contract. And then down the road, that could have value to them. Biggest thing that you want to provide is value to your customer, and figure out how you can do that. And I think that that's what any successful project should aim to do. Like,
so
how is this
adding
going
value to the customer.
How is this going to benefit somebody? But on the flip side of that, there are artists who create work, and the art itself is the utility. Like, it doesn't have to have something else attached to it. Like, if you want to support this artist and you believe in this artwork and you love it, then that philosophy is that you shouldn't have to provide something else on top of it.
Right. So that artwork that you were showing me earlier, does that have a utility attached to it?
The Art of Seasons.
Yeah.
So that right now.
If we could pull that up, that'd be great. Just move a couple of your drinks here. What is it? You got
My
coffee,
7,000 drinks.
water, sparkling water.
So where's a good place for me to show this?
Oh, you can put it right in the middle. That wide camera should get it. I might have to. I'm interested to see how long the cameras run for before turning off. But
Is that good?
what do you think of the dual color here?
It's nice. What are the color options for it?
Anything, any color.
Any color?
Yeah.
Like, you can make any shade of any
Yeah,
color?
I like that they're mixed. I didn't do this on purpose. This just kind of, the lights have been like kind of freaking out lately, and this just did it automatically.
Possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Pink and blue are my two colors.
I should ask. I should have asked. All right, so this is Art of Seasons, which I thought was very cool. Almost has like a Japanese feel to it.
So it's funny you say that, because I think the artist, it's a comic style. The artist goes by Dirty Robot. And I just like immediately fell in love with the artwork. But they're kind
I
of
love
unique.
it. This one's great. Oops, I didn't realize this is a touch screen
you
as
can
well.
touch it.
Which one was? I mean, that one's cool too.
I like this one.
That's great.
See if we can pull it up. So they actually evolve with time. So the lighting changes based on the time of day, which is super unique. I haven't actually
How long
seen.
does it take to evolve?
I don't know what the time frame is. I think they probably have 3 different variations:
And does it
Morning.
does it loop?
sun, dusk time, and then night. Yep. And I believe it is based on the holder's time zone. So like whoever
Interesting.
owns this, it's daytime there. Yeah,
So we're gonna try to buy one of these.
we are.
I mean, that was the goal, right? Buy an NFT live on the podcast here.
So you need to.
I'm gonna pick one out though. I mean, they're all great. I love this one. This one's very cool.
That is cool. So if you scroll down and you look underneath, the properties are where it'll give you specifics about the different traits and have to do with the rarity of the piece. So if you go back to like the page with the collection, you can filter down and see what the most rare traits are.
So you shouldn't just go by, I like this one the best.
I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with that, but I think it has to do with what your intentions are. If you are looking to trade and not hold on to something for a long time, or if you're buying something really because you love it and you plan on holding it forever. But the biggest advice, one of the most important things with NFTs, is to not invest money always invest money that you're willing to lose. Because
Kind of like how stocks are.
It's extremely volatile. Like, it's more volatile than
Like, you don't
even
want your
crypto.
NFT making you sad.
No, and people.
Do your NFTs make you sad?
Not so far. But
This one's cool too.
so I like to spend a lot of time, like, really going through a collection and looking at it closely before purchasing anything. And
Should we
making sure-
take a pause and kind of go through these and find out which one
Yeah.
I should buy? All right, we'll take a quick pause. All right, so we've taken some time, deliberated over the purchase, discussed, negotiated. I really like the World of Women one. My question is, like, what happens if ETH, like, crashes? So what if ETH goes down to 1,000?
Then it goes down.
What if ETH goes down to like pennies? Because like you have the NFT market, which is volatile, but then you have the crypto space, which is volatile.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like NFT prices, right, could crash.
Mm-hmm.
Am I making you nervous?
No, it's all very
Oh, no.
plausible.
So
But I think you have to go into it with that mindset that
that's a real possibility.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, NFT market, right, could go down, right,
Mhm.
but ETH could stay strong. It's like, all right, now I'm picking up the NFTs pretty cheap, but the NFTs could go really high, but the ETH could crash.
Yeah, sometimes it balances out where the floor price reflects a higher price in ETH or a lower price. Like, so, you know, say it's the floor is at 10 ETH and ETH's at 3,000, and then it drops down to 2,000, and then it goes up by a third
So
to
let's
reflect
try,
that change.
Let's try this. Which one was I looking at? That one's great.
Could it be the one?
Could it be the one? What's her name?
So they don't have names, but they have numbers. So if
I'm
you
not sure if they can. Can that be seen on the camera?
have any connection to numbers,
And then what is the other project?
3245.
We screenshot this.
The Art of Seasons.
I almost bought this last night. I had too much Red Bull. I was up at like 2 a.m. I was like, I think I'm going to buy this.
Red Bull gives you NFTs instead of wings.
What was it called? Art of who?
The Art of Seasons.
Art of Seasons. Sort by now. Alright, filter by now. Done. Alright, which one were we contemplating here?
Did you like the full scene with?
The full scene is really cool, but I feel like if I was going to spend that much, I'd rather do the World of Women. That's like a more notable project, right?
I mean, World of Women's like 3 times the price, but
So I like that one. The watermelon one, I thought that was kind of cool. And then that one, right? Is that the one we were looking at?
I like that one too. Dun 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 dun.
It's a tough decision. It all kind of comes down, though, if I can transfer ETH into this wallet. Oh my god. That was 4 ETH? That's insane.
So people can list them for whatever they would like. Like they could ask some astronomical price for no reason, and somebody might say, "Oh, that, this one's got to be super rare because it's 69 ETH." But it's just
It doesn't.
somebody.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
No, you just have to look into the traits and see what the deal is.
A lot of dead air.
What are you gonna do?
That's a really tough call.
So don't rush, I would say.
I gotta purchase though. We said we were gonna purchase one for the
For the culture.
we gotta
The
do it for the culture.
content.
Yeah. All right. What about these people eating watermelon?
I love it. Did you look at the time? Look at the time and the traits and see if it's time evolving or if it's just night.
I'm not sure.
So it's just night.
So we want time evolving.
Well, I mean, it's up to you. The time evolving, it changes color with the day.
Let me see if I can purchase ETH. And so, like, if I were to hit buy now, go to my Coinbase wallet. Hold on, I don't want to hit buy now, and it actually buys it. That one's 14,000. How do I do this? This scene is 27 ETH. That's crazy.
So, quick tips for people who are just starting out.
Yes, quick tips on people who are starting.
If you are creating a crypto wallet, that's
Yes.
like the first thing you have to do in order to purchase NFTs.
You went over this with me earlier, right?
Yeah.
With your
somewhat.
codes?
Yeah. So when you first set up any wallet, you will have what is called a seed phrase, and it's a string of words that is specific to your wallet. And that seed phrase should not be given out to anybody ever for any reason whatsoever. Like if you're talking to support, you're having issues with whatever with your wallet, and they ask you for your seed phrase, that's a red flag. Don't give it to anyone. Second tip with that is don't ever have that phrase stored digitally. Don't have it on your phone. Don't have it in your Dropbox. Don't have it in your cloud. Nowhere. Have it written down on a piece of paper in a very safe place that you know about, and probably solely you know about.
You said don't even put it in your will. That's what she said. Exact quote. She said
No.
put clues
Yes. Yeah.
in your will on how to find it.
Yeah. Because it's kind of a sad fact, like people who have these wallets set up will eventually pass away, and they could, when that happens, these assets could be worth millions of dollars. And
Yeah.
if people can't get into them. Yeah.
Well, it's
they'll
like
just be
people buying
lost forever.
Bitcoin back in the day, and they would have them on hard
Yeah.
drives, and
Yeah.
they like threw them away.
Yeah. So, and then the other piece of advice is to also get a cold wallet, which is, it's basically like a USB, and it stores them more safely than if you were to have what's called a hot wallet like MetaMask or Coinbase. And the only way that you can access them is if you have that seed phrase. Whereas with a hot wallet, if somebody hacks into your device or you click a link that's malicious or phishing email, people are out to scam
So you don't have your wallet on your phone?
I do not have my wallet on my phone.
So you purchased through a browser?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then
And do you need the seed phrase to log into your wallet?
the first time you do. Yep, to set it up on that device.
Okay.
And then you just use your password. So anytime you're setting it up on a device for the first time, you need that seed phrase.
Awesome. Cool.
To buy a ledger.
Buy a
If you
ledger.
Yep.
You had mentioned that to me, so yeah, that is probably
Even
something
if you
I
own
gotta do.
crypto and not NFTs, have a ledger.
So just so we're not killing time, we will we'll wrap here. We will buy the NFT and insert it into the episode. But I want to thank you for coming on. I thought we
Thank
were
you
going
for
to talk
having me.
more about Bob Dylan.
You
than we
didn't
actually-
even come up in conversation.
I mentioned him. I mentioned the tickets. Thought that was a good segue.
Oh, did you mention
I
the
did,
tickets?
yeah. You didn't catch it.
To watch it
Next
when I
time.
watch it back.
All right. Well, if I'm not sure if you want to give your contact stuff, if you follow Instagram, Twitter, all those kind of things.
Sure. Yeah. So if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it's maggiemay.art, MAGGIEMAE.art. And then on Twitter, it's Magdyllan, MAGDYLAN.
And you sell some of your NFTs that you've made as prints, correct?
Yes. Well, on a couple different occasions. So I sold one to you that was actually an NFT. And then I had for the art drop that I mentioned with World of Women, I hid a secret Easter egg in the digital version of it. And the first person to find it was able to get a physical edition of the NFT. So, like on occasion, physicals would exist, but also just have NFTs for sale that are one-of-one artworks.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
I'll have to have you back at some point.
Yes.
And all right, we'll wrap it. Hope you enjoyed this episode on NFTs with Maggie May Ferri. Be sure to check out her work, and we will see you next week.